Playing it on a display this size is actually the coolest experience I've had outside of playing it in virtual reality. All right, Seth here. I am checking out the Thrustmaster Yoke Boeing edition that they were kind enough to send us. Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024 doesn't come out until next week, but we thought it would be fun to try this stuff out with Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020. We've got the yoke, we've got the throttle quadrant, we've even got the pedals down below, which you can't see. Well, I guess you can see them right now. And we thought maybe since I'm in the office, we should be playing Microsoft Flight Simulator with this gear on our giant LED wall. So right now I am taking off from LAX and I'm just gonna fly around. It's a beautiful day to fly out here in Los Angeles. Conditions are ideal. So we are getting close to rotation speed. Up we go. Gear up. We're in the air, folks. Oh yeah. This is going to be hard to go back to a normal screen. So we are flying right towards downtown LA. We're gonna do a nice little tour of the area here, Southern California. It's a nice sunny day. As you can see, there's a helipad on the top of the US Bank Tower. Not gonna be landing on that. This is not what we're here for. So this is the Thrustmaster Yoke Pack Boeing edition, like I talked about earlier. It's got these two parts, and then you can add the rudder pedals if you're a really like a hardcore sim person. And what's cool about this one, and I was actually really surprised, was it works both with PC and Xbox, like all of the parts. I thought maybe like just these would work, but actually the rudder works with the Xbox. I've never played Flight Simulator on Xbox. This is the first time I've actually experienced it, and I am kind of surprised by how like it's actually really good. So using an actual like flight stick setup, it's impossible to go back to anything else. Like if you're just starting out in Flight Simulator, Xbox controller, it's fine. But once you get into something that like actually feels and responds the way that similar to what a real airplane control will, it's really hard to go back. Like this just feels really good. There's 4 springs inside of here, so when I let go, it just returns to center, but it has a good amount of resistance when you're playing with it. I can't say how realistic it is because I've never obviously flown an actual airplane. I've only flown fake ones on Flight Simulator. But I mean, as far as like what I would imagine realism is, this is a huge step up from just the controller, mouse, and keyboard. And these are all programmable. Like there's a preset for all of these buttons, but you can change them around. You can make it however you want to. Every one of these controls here inside the plane can be mapped to something. So if you had like a Elgato Stream Deck, you can program in whatever, you know, your flight computer, and then you can adjust everything that you want on the keyboard, add some things here, you know, autopilot right here. Let's say, for instance, adjust your settings. These are another one that's also pre-built. So yeah, it is. I highly recommend if you're serious at all about playing Flight Simulator to get some kind of setup. And you don't have to necessarily get this one. This one's a little bit more expensive. They have more like sort of entry-level ones, but yeah, the rudder especially makes a huge difference. You wouldn't think so, but the rudder really does. Especially when you're trying to land and you have all the assists turned off, or excuse me, when you're trying to take off, you have all the assists turned off. You really need that rudder so you can keep a straight line on the runway. Otherwise you're fighting the torque of the engines. Normally I fly with all the assists off. I geek out, I go through the checklists, because who doesn't love checking lists? But for today, I do have assists turned on somewhat, just for demonstration purposes. We're looking out the window right now at Los Angeles, California. Actually, I think I see me on the map. That's crazy. Yeah, this stuff is actually really nice. They make an Airbus edition, Airbus being like, you know, the #1 sort of jetliner competitor out of France, which uses a joystick control, because that's how the big Airbuses control is, with a joystick rather than a yoke like this. So Another cool thing is you can link these throttle quadrants together to have it more accurately simulate, like a 747, for example, has 4 engines. So you can link 2 of these together, and then you have engine control for each individual engine if you want to get even more, crazy and creative about it. But that's kind of what's cool about Flight Simulator as far as peripherals are concerned. The sky's sort of the limit. Oh man, I can't believe I just made that pun.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
But it is, as far as what you can throw out there and play with the game. And I'm knowing that this stuff all works with the Xbox, is like the barrier to entry is a little bit lower. I mean, this is not cheap. These 2 items right here are combined $500 with $499. But once you've played Flight Simulator enough, you don't really want to use the controller anymore. You're gonna want to start getting more realistic controls. This is probably a great way to start. A lot of planes do fly with this sort of yoke setup, so you'd be good for that. But again, it's mostly personal preference, and it's also customizable enough where you can fly pretty much any airplane with a setup like this. You could even fly a helicopter if you wanted to. It's not ideal, but you could do it. So, by the way, I want to point out this version of Flight Simulator that we're playing right now. This is the Xbox Series X version, and it actually looks amazing. I'm really surprised by how well it looks on the Xbox Series X. I play on PC, so I actually have never seen it on Xbox, and I'm gonna say they did a very good job. I believe it's coming to Xbox Game Pass for the 2024 edition. All right, we are getting pretty close to Bob Hope Airport right now. I'm going quite fast. I'm going way too fast. So I'm gonna throttle way back. I might engage my flaps here even. And that's us right there, Bob Hope Airport. And I am definitely going too fast, so flaps are going down. Playing it on a display this size is actually the coolest experience I've had outside of playing it in virtual reality, because I mean, I have to move my head back and forth to see what is going on because the screen is so gigantic. It is going to be really difficult to go back to playing this on like a normal computer screen when I get home. So there's Bob Hope Airport. I am coming in at a really terrible angle in all possible ways. I'm way too high, I'm way too fast. It's gonna be hard to do. Let's see if I can do it. You know what, I'm just gonna... Sorry folks, don't mean to scare you. Okay, oh boy. Oh yeah, that worked. Yeah, I'm coming in really hot. No, actually, I'm doing pretty good. I'm at 167 for my airspeed, which is where I want to be. I'm definitely too high, and oh boy. And I forgot I had these turned on. But yeah, going way too fast. That's okay, I don't care. We're gonna do it anyway. It's the hardest part of flying, is actually getting back on the ground. Float, 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 float. That was not my best landing, but we're on the ground. Everyone's safe. Snoop Dogg is safe. We did it, everybody. We made it. So we landed safely in Burbank. Not the best landing. I was definitely not on the center line. I was coming in too fast. I was coming in too high, but we made it. We are on the ground now. We are taxiing to our destination. I'm still obviously I've got throttle up because I'm on the ground now. This is where the pedals are absolutely crucial, because all your steering when you're on the ground is done with the rudder. So it's one of those things you don't think is important until you're trying to taxi, and then you can't steer. So yeah, everything that I've got right here just made for such a cooler experience between the controls, the yoke right here, which is similar to what would be in this actual plane right here, the throttle, which is similar, and then obviously a giant screen on which to play. I'm really looking forward to 2024, and I'm also trying to figure out how I can get, an 8-foot screen in my house to play it on. Probably not gonna happen, but I do have this set of controls at my house, and I will be setting it up day one when I'm playing Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024. So there it is. Let's get Snoop Dogg parked. I do see some limos up there. I don't really see limos. So yeah, for everything Microsoft Flight Simulator, keep it right here on IGN. This is your captain speaking. If you look out the window, you will see mountains.